Bada bang, we're here again. Yay. So listen, we're going to start the Pat McDonough show. We got two wonderful guests. Surprise you, huh? Surprise you, huh? All right, just hang out. I got to get everything set up. I just started now in case I forget.
Memorial Day marks the unofficial start of summer, but it's also the day honoring those who have given their lives for the country.
Yeah, after this, it's a White House hat, White House out, freaking white pants. Pee-Pee's here. Hey, Pee-Pee, how you doing? All that good stuff, summer stuff. The unofficial day of summer starts. So there.
Joe Biden has won Hawaii's Democratic primary. It was delayed by the coronavirus and turned into an all-night. Severe weather, including hail, parts of North Texas last night. A tornado touched down in the town of Bowie, causing heavy damage to the homes and businesses. The town's about 65 miles northwest of Fort Worth. America is listening to Fox News. Fox News Channel is with you every step of the way.
There are so many uplifting stories, people helping each other.
America's best shine brightest when needed the most. The spirit of generosity has been enormous. It's a good moment to be here for the public, so we're not going anywhere. We are resilient. Thanks to her citizens, the America we know will come out of this.
America Together, on air and online, only Fox News Channel. The fallout continues. Comments made this week by former VP Joe Biden on African-American voters.
Former Vice President Joe Biden walked back his comments after criticism. It sounds like he's taking for granted the very population that propelled him to the position of likely nominee.
And if you're a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Backlash was swift from liberal activists, black community groups, and Trump allies alike. The president's campaign is reportedly planning a $1 million ad blitz highlighting the remarks and focusing on Biden's support for the 1994 crime bill, which led to disproportionate incarceration among black people. Biden's comments come at the perfect time for the Trump campaign, which has been courting black support. A recent Fox News poll shows just 14% of African Americans have a favorable view of Trump versus 75% look at Biden favorably.
Partially checked behind it, Biden also continuing to battle allegations of sexual assault against a former employee. A day of good deeds in the Keystone State.
If a lot of folks in Pennsylvania seem a little kinder and friendlier than normal Friday, it may have been because it was the state's second annual 143 Day. The 22nd of May is the 143rd day of the year. Last year, Governor Tom Wolf designated the state's first 143 Day as an occasion for all Pennsylvanians to perform acts of kindness and gratitude, and to do so in honor of favorite son Fred.
Ron, are you on?
Late children's TV show host and legendary.
Ron, we want to make sure the calls are connected to what we're talking about.
And
We're talking about reopening.
got it.
Okay.
Fox's Carolyn Q. Participants this time were told to focus on first responders. Former NFL quarterback Ryan Leaf has been arrested in Southern California.
There's the Scott Check. How you doing, Scott Check? Mike Danzel, woo!
I'm Joe, Fox News.
There we go.
Temperatures are headed to the cool side of average to finish out the weekend Sunday after a warm Saturday. We'll keep it warm tonight, mid to upper 50s, and clouds build in. It'll be a gray Sunday for us as we get up into the upper 60s. Clouds stick around for Sunday night, 54 for the overnight low. And then, after early clouds Memorial Day Monday, we'll see some afternoon sunshine, keep the grill close to some shade. get up to the mid-70s for the high. I'm Jeff Eno from the Weather Channel for Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
Ritchie Automotive wants to let all WCBM listeners know that they remain open for business for any and all of your automotive repair and maintenance needs. Ritchie Automotive is aggressively enforcing social distancing and will handle things outside and curbside. If you are sick or are exhibiting symptoms, please stay at home. And if you are well, you still need your vehicle for essentials like food shopping, medicine, and emergencies. It's important to make sure your vehicle is repaired if needed and properly maintained for peak performance in order to avoid unnecessary costly repairs down the road. Again, Ritchie Automotive remains open. They're aggressively enforcing social distancing and will handle things outside and curbside. Ritchie Automotive is still open for drop-offs. To make an appointment, please call Ritchie Automotive at 410-761-4600, 410-761-4600, or online at ritchieauto.com and click on the appointment request link.
For the best hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Listen to the music at home, in the car, or at work. Wake up with a Merson person and get radio hugs from Diane Lynn. Weekdays at 6 and 10 a.m. Baltimore's classic hits are on 99.9 FM in Harford County, Q1370.com, the Q1370 mobile app, and on Music Radio Q1370.
WCBM studios are sponsored by a safe retirement solution. Visit saferetirementsolutions.com.
Power
410-266-1120.
Welcome to the Pat McDonough Show.
The views and opinions you hear on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and WCBM.com are not necessarily those of the owners, management, employers, and advertisers of WCBM, but they should be.
The Pat McDonough Show is brought to you by Super Citizen Radio. Baltimore is listening to Talk Radio 680 WCBM. It's time now for Super Citizen Radio. Here's your hosts, Pat and Valerie McDonough.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the program. It's going to be a very interesting and even exciting program. We're going to have with us this evening in the first hour two, I believe, to be very important guests that have done something that needs to be done, fighting on our side. Tonight, we're also going to take a look at, as part of our guests, what they've participated in, which is the idea of getting back to normal and reopening our society and our economy and our life. We're also later on in the program going to take a look at an update on our friend Joe Biden and some of the miscaps that he's put together this week, including insulting the entire black community in the United States. We'll take a close-up look at Mayor Young. My God, what has happened to Mayor Young? He has not done anything right since he's been mayor. The only thing he's done right is with the Preakness, and he did not really put that package together. That was Attorney Joel Feinman who put that together. The mayor was smart enough to accept it. But Mayor Young is now running last among the top 6 candidates for election to mayor. We'll take a look at this judge who doesn't have much of an idea about what justice is in the Flynn case, and now the pressure is on him because the circuit court judges, the superior judges, are cracking down and telling him to do his job. We'll take a look at Trump media bias. We have some numbers, and U.S. birth rates are down, and they've been going down for years, and that's kind of interesting as to why that's happening. But we want to talk about the lockdown. 35 million, maybe almost 40 million jobs have been lost. The Democrats and their partners in the fake news are destroying America's economy as if it is not important. Families are losing jobs and facing daily stress, and they need to struggle on. It's always the Democrat governors, have you noticed, or members of the Democrat Party who push the lockdown power, the lockdown agenda. The top 6 big states in the country that are Democrat states have 65% of the virus cases. Most of the deaths are in New York State. But the fake news promote Governor Cuomo as if he were a hero. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitler is the biggest lockdown offender in the nation, but the fake news and the radical Democrats promote her as Sleepy Joe Biden's potential vice president. A crisis where there is supposed to be unity, The fake news and the radical Democrats divide America. Hospitals are in financial trouble. Big companies like Neiman Marcus and J.C. Penney are going into bankruptcy. There have been 15 million small businesses lost in America already. Anti-anxiety medications are up by 30%, and 90% of the cancer testing cases are down in the hospitals because of this situation. You can shop at a big box store, but not at a neighborhood store. The methadone centers and the liquor stores are open, but not the churches. Criminals are released while citizens are arrested. Thomas Jefferson said that giving up freedom for safety will achieve neither. I'm beginning to believe more each day that we live in a nation with a right brain and a left brain, and it is time to reopen. I am a citizen, not a subject. I don't like the words, I will be allowed. You know, I need to practice my rights as a citizen. I don't need to be allowed like a subject. So we have two people with us tonight who are really on the front end of all this and have stood up when a lot of other people wouldn't stand up. And we're very proud of them, and I wanted to get them on the air to tell you their story, actually. We have Pastor STACEY SHIFFLET with Calvary Baptist Church, who had services last Sunday, and he'll explain everything to you, how he feels about the situation for the churches, and he has taken action. He has stood up. And we have Councilman Todd Crandle from the Dundalk area. What is that district?
It's the 7th district in Baltimore County.
It's the 7th district in Baltimore County. And out of our 7 council members, representatives, Councilman Crandle was the only one who cast a singular vote to say, let's reopen Baltimore County. And he'll explain that to us. But I want to start off with Pastor SHIFFLET. Pastor, you did something last Sunday that a lot of people, and I think wrongly so, were critical of. But there's much more to this story than just having services at the Calvary Baptist Church.
Yes, thanks for having me on, Pat. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to communicate to Baltimore what exactly is going on here. I had a funny feeling that that would happen, so I had the foresight to compile an official statement, which is on our church's website, Calvary Baptist Church website, cbcdundalk.org. And in that letter, I walked people through the process that we arrived at to go ahead and reopen. It wasn't something reckless. It wasn't something we just decided to do. We had been planning for weeks, and the tilting point for us was when the governor came out on that Wednesday afternoon at 5 o'clock, opened the state, opened churches to 50% capacity. I got up in the pulpit in our midweek service on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. We were rejoicing. We were thanking God for answer to prayer. I told our people, your prayers have been answered. Our letters and our petitions have been answered. We will see you in God's house this Sunday on the 17th, not knowing that the very next day that the county executive would then reclose the county and reclose the churches, making it where you couldn't even have more than 10 people, even if you had an outside service. And so when I realized what I felt like to be this started to be this political thing, I just decided I don't want our church to be a pawn in this whatever's going on politically. And so we went ahead and just had church on the 17th last Sunday morning, and so yeah, that's how that came out.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's right. There was like the governor made one agenda, one policy statement, and then Olszewski came back and said no to the churches. Now, you put a lot of planning into this. What I've heard, you dedicated a lot of time to this. And I got to say this at this point. You put a lot of planning into it and dedication as compared to some of the politicians, not our good councilman, Todd Crandle, but the governor, for example. It's easy to shut things down. It's easy to close things off. To micromanage and be more specific as to what could be done, you did that. So when you had your services, you put a lot of thought into how that has to be done, because what the critics say, it's easy to jump on people and be critical and say, oh, you just want to kill people, or you want to make people sick, or you're so reckless. You did a lot of work.
Well, let me tell you just how much work we did do. And for those people that are out there that have said that, and a few people have, you don't care about people, you're killing people, you don't know how to open safely. Well, the governor's office apparently thought I did, because they called and asked me to be on the faith-based work group to compile the protocols to reopen churches. Okay, I was on that work group along with 28 faith leaders from across the state of Maryland, and we collaborated for hours on the phone, emails and conversations. I ultimately resigned from that work group at the end because it had gone beyond where I was comfortable being identified with.
I understand there were some pastors on there that really were going in a different direction.
Well, the governmental overreach that was included in with the faith leaders' recommendations, I saw it. It was in the documents. One of the most flagrant ones that I threw a flag, I said I can no longer be a part of this, was that we could not reopen children's ministries and children's classes of any kind for children 12 and under without guidance from the Department of Education.
Oh boy.
And that is a tremendous government intrusion that I was not comfortable with. I do not believe that the Department of Education has any jurisdiction in our churches. And so that, along with several other proposals that were made that I was completely uncomfortable with, I resigned from that commission, that work group. I sent a letter listing my objections, and I said I don't want my name or the name of our church attached to this. So for anybody that says you don't know how to safely reopen a church, well, I was part of the group that came up with the policies and the procedures, and we have implemented much of those in our reopening policies.
Yeah, well, the outline, it can be done. I mean, if you can go to Target, if you can go to Walmart, you certainly can go to a church. Now, we're not saying that you should not be safe. There are certain things like distancing that have been proven to be helpful, and you need to do certain things. So locking down and shutting down by politicians is easy. And I'll get into that a little more about when it comes to nursing homes and unemployment, okay, where it really takes some work. But you did the work and you set it up. So when people came to your services, what are some of the things they had to do?
Okay, well, Todd's sitting right here. He was there Sunday morning, so he can verify everything I'm about to say.
And I understand he was asked to leave.
No, he was not. He and his wife were on the front row. It was awesome to see him. But in any case, no, checking temperatures at the door with the infrared thermometers that immediately tell you the temperature. They came in. We asked everybody to keep their face mask on when they came through the door, and when they were interacting, we seated. Our ushers had on gloves and masks. All the psalm books were collected. There were no psalm books out. We put the words on the screens. We didn't take passive offering plates. We had plastic wrapped around the water fountains. They were off limits. No children's ministries. No service. No choir. No choir practice. Bathrooms were limited to only 2 people at the time. Our facilities were wiped down and sanitized by the CDC guidelines using EPA-regulated cleaning material. Everything we did was by the book. And I suppose, Pat, that was the biggest reason why I was offended. The health department would send me a citation, or they didn't send me a citation. It was a cease and desist order with a threat of a $5,000 fine if we reopened our church. They never one time came down there to see what we were doing.
No basis for it.
There was no basis. And I know that you just mentioned the double standard. I go through Dunkin' Donuts every morning. There's 6 or 8 employees huddled up inside that little drive-through area handling cash and making my coffee, touching my lids, my straws, handing it out the window. Now, if they can do that, and I can only have 10 people in a 600-seat auditorium, don't tell me that's fair. Don't tell me that's just, because I'm not buying it.
No, it's
Mike Danzel, that's why I make my own coffee.
Against the church. Now, what is the condition right now of the status of the complaint that they filed?
I don't know what they're going to do. We had church Wednesday night. We violated that cease and desist order on Wednesday night by having church because I received it on Monday night. We spent several days. My law representatives, my legal representatives spent 2 or 3 days trying to get them to tell us, what are you going to do now? Are you going to find them? Or are you just going to let it go? And we have yet to get a clear answer. So we're just moving forward with our special Memorial Day services tomorrow, and we're just going to move forward. And I'm not really worried about it, because I know that our church is safe. Not only is our church safe, Pat, but here's another thing people forget to think about. People come there voluntarily. Nobody's being forced to come there.
Right.
And our people are there because they want to be there. They've been begging me for weeks, can we please come to church? Can I bring my family to church? And I could tell them no for 2 months, and I couldn't tell them no anymore after I told them on that day, that Wednesday, that Hogan gave that statement. I couldn't tell them after that, no, we're shutting the church again. I just didn't have the heart to do it, Pat.
No, it's inconsistent. If the governor thinks it's okay with all of his assets, and then Johnny Olszewski does not think it's okay, well, they better get together and figure out what they're talking about. Now, the president, the ultimate authority, has said that he believes churches are essential now, and he will go over the heads of any governor that he believes is not acting properly and is going over the head for overkill. So, do you understand how that works, or how do you think that works with the president?
I'm just amused at people saying, how does the president have the authority to go over the governor's head when the county executive went over the governor's head?
I love it. I love it. It's beautiful. All right, we're going to take a break. Now, if you want to join us, 410-922-6680, 410-922-6680, or the long-distance toll-free number is 1-800-922-6680. You got to be on subject. Okay, second hour we'll open the show up, but right now we want to talk about reopening. And when we come back, we'll talk with Councilman Todd Crandle, who is out there fighting for the reopening, and he's outnumbered. He's like General Custer, a little bighorn. I've been there, Todd. I know what you're doing. I know exactly.
I'm not alone, Pat.
I know.
However, I'm not alone.
No, I mean on the council. The vote was unfortunately 6-1. There was one correct vote. It was 6-1. It was Todd's vote. But I've been there. I said I know how it is. But that's when you got to fight harder. Because just because you're outnumbered doesn't mean you're wrong. So we'll be right back. I'm Pat McDonough with Valerie McDonough. We'll be right back.
Allow me to offer some sound advice. More than 35 million men, women, and children have hearing loss, and the number is growing. You need to begin your journey toward healthy hearing now by calling Clarity and Comfort Hearing Center at 410-256-1006.
Hey, Pastor, how you doing? I'm okay. I'm just
begin your journey
doing what I
to
have to
healthy
do.
hearing by calling Clarity and Comfort Hearing Center at 410-256-1006. This message is sound advice.
This is a commercial announcement. Picture this scenario. A shortage of fuel has closed your electric utility.
Well, thank you,
Any
sir.
possible
That works me a
disaster
lot.
has
You
just
know, I went
devastated
to
your
school for
town.
that, and it's
You're
something
out of
that I
power,
haven't
no
had before.
lights, and no news.
Thank you
That's
so
why
much, and I'll
federal
put you on
and
right
state
now
agencies urge
after the
every home
commercial.
to have an emergency radio.
You're
Now you
welcome.
can get a free Dynamo World Band emergency radio. This powerful radio lets you stay informed during any type of emergency. It doesn't even need batteries and comes with a hand crank generator and super bright LED flashlight. The Dynamo emergency radio includes the NOAA weather band, a long-range AM receiver, a high-sensitivity FM band, and even a USB jack to charge cell phones or other devices. The Dynamo emergency weather band radio retails for almost $30. But Newsmax wants to make sure you get this radio. So check out the free offer for the emergency radio by going to gettheradio.com. That's gettheradio.com, or call 800-NEWSMAX. This radio could save your life. This is a limited offer and may end soon, so order today.
I fish. I also clean local waterways so others can fish and swim. I help build public boat ramps.
I build boat
easy
ramps
access
too.
to water. I provide fishing and water safety education for kids.
Oh.
I maintain
A lot of fun, everybody.
so
A lot of fun.
anglers can enjoy a catch. I prevent unwanted species from spreading into waters where they
My
don't
God.
belong. I restore the condition of rivers to help fish and wildlife thrive. I fund long-term plans to protect our lakes and streams. I do all of these things and more, all because I buy a fishing license. When you buy a fishing
And boat
license,
ramps.
you do a lot. In fact, every dollar from a license purchase protects and maintains your local waterways for future generations to enjoy. To learn more about how you can get your fishing license, go to takemefishing.org. That's takemefishing.org.
Sweetie, want some fruit? You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional. Antibiotic is the right tool, and when it's not, visit CDC.
Scott checks. Everybody's here. Scott check. It's been a long time.
If you text while driving, you're
Well, I'm going to tell you the troll stories, Scott. We're going to meet you at the tunnel on the Minnesota Bridge, and we'll talk about it. I'll say where the orcs are. Remember, the orcs. Not the trolls, they're orcs. Now, if you remember correctly, they were orcs, not trolls.
From 7 to 8 a.m. for Maryland's premier garden show on the radio. That's Saturdays at 7 a.m. exclusively on Talk Radio 680 WCBM. Back to Super Citizen Radio on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Welcome back, everybody, and just a reminder, of course, this is Memorial Weekend. God bless our fallen heroes on Memorial Weekend. Monday, I will be sitting in for Derek Hunter from 9 till 12, and I can tell you that's going to be a heck of a show. I may wind up getting arrested. We're going to be out of control, ranting and raving, and Valerie won't be there, so I will be out of control. And anyway, listen, also Sunday, Super Citizen Television is on Sinclair Broadcasting at 10 o'clock. If you have, what is it, Valerie? Verizon is channel 46, right? My TV, and what is the other one?
We have Verizon, we have Comcast.
Comcast is channel 24. Direct Television, Direct Dish TV. It's all over the state, and it's on our website. It's on YouTube on supercitizenusa.com. So that's our half. It's the only conservative television show in the entire universe. Not local it is, but it's the only one in the state of Maryland. So we want you to tune in for that. I want to get to our councilman, who has an interesting story to tell us also, Councilman Todd Crandle. Now, Todd, you all had a vote on the county council. What was the vote about?
We did, Pat. The vote was Thursday morning, and it was a special legislative session, and done remotely via web conference. And there were two resolutions on the agenda. One resolution was a resolution that I sponsored that would have ended and put the county executive's emergency powers to bed. Would have basically said what he said on in the previous week, would have made his sort of amendment to what Governor Hogan said the Wednesday before the county executive made his announcement. It would have declared those emergency powers null and void, and we would have reverted back to what the governor said the Wednesday before. The other resolution on the table was a resolution put together for the administration to extend the state of emergency in Baltimore County, which would therefore extend the emergency powers of the county executive.
For how long? How long?
It would. I believe that bill was another 45 days.
Oh, my goodness! So
yes.
All the way into June, almost July.
So the before the vote, the expiration date on the state of emergency in Baltimore County would have ended on May 25th.
Now, you were the only person that voted against that.
That's right.
Now, your colleagues, your 6 colleagues, including 2 other Republicans, did not. They voted to extend. What about the debate? What was the justification?
Well, I think that the debate was not centered on fact, if you ask me, and it certainly was not centered on the First Amendment. The arguments that both the administration and my colleagues on the council that disagreed with me, the arguments that were made were that the county, if the county did not declare its state of emergency or extend its state of emergency, would not make the county eligible for state or federal aid as we go through this pandemic. Now,
you think that's true?
I don't believe that is true at all.
No.
So I did the research on my own and with the consultation of county attorneys and others, and looked at the statutes, federal, state, and local. There is nothing that says that a political subdivision like Baltimore County needs to declare a state of emergency in order to be eligible for those funds. Now, no one could refute that. There were 3 attorneys on the web conference in the legislative session. They did not refute what I was saying. So to me, what this amounts to is, let's make sure that we still have the state of emergency, so we have a marketing effort that we can put towards the state and the Fed in order to receive our aid. But legally, what the state of emergency does, if you look at the Baltimore County Code, it gives the county executive, and when you see it, it gives the county executive 11 powers that, when you see it, are remarkable and frankly constitutional. But remember that these emergency powers were not necessarily formulated in a time when we were thinking about pandemic, when legislators at the time were thinking about pandemic. They were thinking about wartime. They were thinking about us being attacked. They were thinking about natural disasters like Isabel that so many of my constituents went through, and you were in office when that happened, so you know how drastic that was. But these powers enabled the county executive to do what he did the day after the governor said churches can open and retail can open. The county executive came back a day later and said, no, churches can't open, except under these restrictions, which were severe and basically kept the churches closed. And then and small businesses could only open with certain restrictions. And maybe we'll have time to get into those restrictions, but I think a lot of our small business people know them by heart and are completely angered and frustrated by them. But those powers are things like regulating firearms and the sale of firearms, regulating alcohol, closing or prohibiting assembly. Things that we feel are God-given constitutional rights and rights that our forefathers believed in so wholeheartedly that they put them in writing and said this is how our country is going to be. And so those powers can do away with those 11 things, and it's a little bit staggering when you read them to think that one individual would have that ability. So when the pandemic started, I think by and large I felt like everyone else thought that this is a scary thing and this is pretty serious. So a lot of people, myself included, were willing to make sacrifices in their households, in their job places, in their spiritual life, their church life. They were willing to make those sacrifices. But then 2 months went by, or almost 2 months went by, and we saw the data. We saw where most of the deaths in Baltimore County are in nursing homes. As of this past Thursday, 201 deaths of the 264 in Baltimore County since they've been tracking the numbers, which has been since April. 201 of those deaths, as unfortunate as they are, and as sad as they are, occurred in nursing homes. So we kind of have the data to say, well, the social distancing and the restrictions that were in place, they're working. But we're not seeing, as things were relaxed a little bit, we weren't seeing an exponential jump in positive cases. We're starting to see a tick in positive cases go up a little bit because we're doing a lot more testing. So you're going to get a lot more available. Yes. Right, you're going to see a lot more positives. So so we have I think the data says that as long as we're careful with what we do, and I firmly believe that most of us in our society and in Baltimore County act responsibly. We follow the law, and if there are things that we can do, and the pastor mentioned it when he talked about the practices that the church has employed. We can wash our hands, we can sanitize, we can. We don't have to run around hugging and kissing on everybody. So, and I believe that people have that choice of whether what business they want to be in, what business they want to patronize, and at this point, knowing that this is not the Black Plague, that we can act responsibly in opening up our businesses, opening up our churches and our other institutions. So not only just getting back to normal, but to exercise the freedom that we know so many people in our own families and friends that have fought for. And we can exercise the freedom that we were given under the Constitution. And we're here on Memorial Day weekend, and our constitutional rights are threatened by the actions not only of my fellow council members, but by the county executive. And we're heading to a point where people have had enough of it.
Amen.
And I got to tell you, I did not run for office and have a desire to be in government to be anyone's parent. That's not what government is supposed to do. And I think that the people are not given enough credit in this situation for being able to handle themselves responsibly. And I just go back to something that the pastor and I have talked about. We've been friends for years, and we've talked on this issue over the past few days. I think one of the things really aggravating to folks about this situation is, okay, the governor said one thing one day, the county executive said one thing the next day. It's hard to plan a business around that. But the biggest thing that sort of gets people is are the inconsistencies. Walmart, Target, Lowe's, Home Depot, they're open.
Hypocrisy.
The local guy that competes with them, or local gal, that's the small business person, has no one speaking for him. There's nobody speaking up for the little guy. There's no
which they are easy to manage. Than the big
right, and so there are these inconsistencies. So anybody can walk into a Walmart. Walmart is fully staffed. So imagine yourself, you're a business person or a church leader like Pastor SHIFFLET. So you hear the governor come out on a Wednesday afternoon and say, and the governor says, retail's back open, but it's up to the local jurisdictions what you want to do.
Passing the buck.
Well, and he's definitely been accused by a lot of people of that. So you're a business owner, and you say, okay, listen, you get your staff together, whoever your people are, and you get them together, and you say, all right, we're getting ready to open. We can open on Friday. Hallelujah, let's get open. And then Thursday comes. Churches, by the way, are making plans to do the same thing that Sunday. And Thursday comes and the county executive says, no, retail can open under these restrictions. Only 10 people in the store or in the establishment at one point, including employees. So now not only does a business owner have to reconfigure their business processes and reconfigure how they do things. They thought they were going to move to curbside, so now they have to train their people differently. They have to stage their establishment differently. Then they get to the announcement by the county executive, and they were going to open. Then they got to go to curbside. Now they have to decide. Well, I have 20 employees. If I want 3 people in the establishment, then I have to cut my staff. Now I'm stuck with who's essential to my business. And going back to that essential, non-essential. So there's an unfairness in that because the other businesses that have been operating, they don't have these restrictions. Now, the trickle-down effect of this is that businesses that were described as essential or deemed essential, they don't have the business because people aren't allowed to go to their job to get the money to patronize these other establishments. So it's so you're seeing because of what I believe is government overreach and a trampling of the First Amendment, we are seeing a very frustrated and angered
and getting worse.
And getting worse to the point of desperation. And when you put desperation, anger, and frustration all together, that's a bad mix. And that's something the government shouldn't be doing to our people.
Right, and it's happening. And we were at the protest. I spoke at the protest the other day. Big crowd, a lot of people, and it was raining. Yeah. And a lot of young people, right, Valerie?
A lot of young
people. Got talking to the microphone.
A lot of young people were there.
Yeah, a lot of young people, which surprised me. But last week, the most liberal member of the Supreme Court, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, made the statement that these special powers are not unlimited and are not unlimited with time. Also, that they should be unique, that these special powers that the politicians have should be very unique and very restrained. One of the things that's going to happen when all of this is over, when the rubble is settled and the smoke settles, the Supreme Court, and there's going to be a national discussion on what happened with our powers. There are going to be court challenges. I'm associated with one legal group that may be part of one of those court challenges because it has to be sorted out. Because not only are they confusing, Todd, but like in the pastor's case, the politicians are using police power. And we've had things happening all across the country. A guy was arrested for being on his kayak in the river. Now, where
Wait a minute, I was wondering where everybody's
at. In Florida, Texas, and Georgia in
Russell
particular,
Crowe.
Things are doing well. The problems are not there.
Barry, Siri, Lisa, how you doing, baby? Donna Watkins, Jay.
I mean, it's clear.
Hey, Sal, how you doing? Donna Joe,
that
baby.
he went to try to
Santa Grasso.
Chris
Knox, hey.
And he didn't tell you.
Leslie Carey, how you doing, baby?
Outfits. You didn't.
Yes, Leslie.
Okay. Well, listen, we're going to be right back, and we're going to have another pastor joining us. Our good friend David Lewis is going to join us. But we'll be right back. We need to take a break.
Temperatures are headed to the cool side of average to finish out the weekend Sunday after a warm Saturday. We'll keep it warm tonight, mid to upper 50s, and clouds build in. It's going to be a gray Sunday for us as we get up into the upper 60s. Clouds stick around for Sunday night, 54 for the overnight.
Best thing to go down, man.
After early clouds.
Dave Cushing, how you doing?
Monday,
All right.
some afternoon sunshine, keep the grill close to some shade. We'll get up to the mid 70s for the high. I'm Jeff Eno from the Weather Channel for Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
Are you always apologizing for your dog's behavior? Need
Not at
help
all.
communicating?
No,
At K9
no, I endorse
Concepts,
it.
we
I
can
endorse
solve
it.
your problems. The answer to your problems is a phone call away.
I
Call
endorse it.
410-477-2000 for a free demo evaluation. Call
I endorse Betsy Bootsy. I endorse Betsy
410-477-2000.
Bootsy.
Obedience, protection, handicapped assistance, boarding, grooming, puppy preschool. Visit K9Concepts.com. The best for your dog. Call 410-477-2000.
If you came across a child struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you recognize a 13-year-old boy who gets into fights at school?
WCBM.
Not because he's a boy,
but
because he's hungry? Or a 2-year-old girl
Hey,
who
Pastor
cries
Lewis,
all
are you
night,
still in loan number
not
one?
because she's sick, but because she went to bed without enough to eat.
That's very good.
Or maybe
Very
a
good.
9-year-old boy
Hold on, we'll get you through.
invites us to sleepover. Not for fun, just so we can have dinner.
WCBM?
Or a 15-year-old girl who goes for walks over lunch.
Oh, this Pat McDonough show. Hold on one
No,
second.
she doesn't have anything to eat.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough show, Rock South speaking. Who's calling?
Kids who pass by every day and never knew when hungry. I am child hungry.
Okay, and would you like to call back, Kevin? Well, of course, it's got to be about urban email.
The world needs more
All right.
heroes, more action-oriented do-gooders, more here's how I can help right-hand sidekicks.
You got it.
World of
Hold on, Kevin. It was right after Pastor Lewis.
Thinking. No sarcoma. We're glad you're listening. Sarcoma is a rare cancer of the body's soft tissue envelope, and this cancer affects tens of thousands of Americans yearly. The Sarcoma Foundation of America partners with like-minded heroes to advocate for sarcoma patients through funded research and widespread
4 minutes.
Learn how you can join
4
forces
minutes.
at curesarcoma.org.
This is a commercial announcement. Picture this scenario. A shortage of fuel has closed your electric utility, or any possible disaster has just devastated your town. You're out of power, no lights, and no news. That's why federal and state agencies urge every home to have an emergency radio. Now you can get a free Dynamo World Band emergency radio. This powerful radio lets you stay informed during any type of emergency. It doesn't even need batteries and comes with a hand crank generator and super bright LED flashlight. The Dynamo emergency radio includes the NOAA weather band, a long-range AM receiver, a high-sensitivity FM band, and even a USB jack to charge cell phones or other devices. The Dynamo emergency weather band radio retails for almost $30. But Newsmax wants to make sure you get this radio. So check out the free offer for the emergency radio by going to gettheradio.com. That's gettheradio.com or call 800-NEWSMAX. This radio could save your life. This is a limited offer and may end soon, so order today.
The COVID-19 pandemic threatens millions. Courageous health workers are risking their lives to protect us all, but many don't have the supplies and support they need. Over the past 60 years, Project Hope has trained and equipped health workers in over 100 countries. Now, as the pandemic spreads, Project Hope is expanding its work in the United States and around the world. To learn more about Project Hope's coronavirus response, visit projecthope.org, sponsored by Project Hope.
While I was lying in an army hospital in Germany, my parents got a letter that said I had 48 hours to live. They even sent a flag to put on my coffin.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I left the military with a traumatic brain injury, and when I got home, I fought depression, anxiety, and alcohol, and had nothing to look forward to.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
With DAV's help, my world changed 100%. I was able to build a new life for myself.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
I'm Adam Greathouse, Army veteran.
But there are more victories to be won.
My victory is just feeling alive and experiencing life.
Adam Greathouse, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Listen Sundays at 9 a.m. for Radio Mass of Baltimore, the live liturgy of the Sunday Mass from St. Ignatius Church in downtown Baltimore. And again at 6 p.m. for a rebroadcast. Following the Mass, stay tuned for a message from the Archdiocese of Baltimore on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
When your vehicle needs help, Jeff's Automotive Services is the place to go. Your vehicle will be worked on by Automotive Service ASE certified technicians. Jeff services all vehicles, including cars, SUVs, trucks, both medium and light duty, and there are always specials available at Jeff's Automotive Services. Just call 410-682-5700.
Great fun. Great fun, David.
Jeff's Automotive Services is locally owned.
David, Chris, Leslie, yay! Everybody, hi.
Mace Avenue. Jeff's is the winner of the Best Automotive Service Award for 2019.
Happy Memorial Day weekend.
Newspapers Readers Poll. Jeff's offers 10% discounts to all seniors and active military members and would like to thank our military members for their service. Jeff's Automotive Services has a name you can trust. Remember, call 410-682-5700 for Jeff's Automotive Services.
This is a commercial announcement. Picture this scenario. A shortage of fuel has closed your electric utility, or any possible disaster has just devastated your town. You're out of power, no lights, and no news. That's why federal and state agencies urge every home to have an emergency radio. Now you can get a free Dynamo World Band emergency radio. This powerful radio lets you stay informed during any type of emergency. It doesn't even need batteries, and comes with a hand-crank generator and super bright LED flashlight. The Dynamo emergency radio includes the NOAA weather band, a long-range AM receiver, a high-sensitivity FM band, and even a USB jack to charge cell phones or other devices. The Dynamo emergency weather band radio retails for almost $30, but Newsmax wants to make sure you get this radio. So check out the free offer for the emergency radio by going to gettheradio.com. That's gettheradio.com, or call 800-NEWSMAX. This radio could save your life. This is a limited offer and may end soon, so order today. WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Our pastor, our good friend, Pastor David Lewis, is going to join us. Pastor Lewis, good evening.
Lord, again, thank you for keeping the important issues in front of the public. Councilman, thank you so much for the stand, the courageous stand that you took, those of us who know right from wrong. Really appreciate that. And Pastor SHIFFLET, I am so blessed to have gotten to know you here over the past several weeks, working on the Governor's Committee with you. And the things that you are doing, the things that we are doing at our church, we're standing side by side with you. We also opened last week, and I got a phone call earlier today from the health department in Baltimore County saying we will be issued our papers tomorrow, to which I say, I will stand on the word of God, where Jesus said, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. I'm not afraid, Pastor SHIFFLET. I know you're not afraid. No. God bless you for all that you have been doing.
And let me say this. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I know I tore up that cease and desist order. I didn't plan on doing that. It wasn't scripted. It's one of those things that just happened while I was preaching and got caught on film, and everybody was, moved by it. Some didn't like it, some did. I didn't plan it. But the point is this. I'm not being disrespectful. I understand these people have a job to do, but here's the problem that I have. They don't seem to understand that I have a job to do. And it is to pastor the Calvary Baptist Church and to feed the souls and feed the flock and care for the flock. And I feel like they have trampled. There's not been a phone call. There's not been any leniency at all. We're 2 months into this shutdown and we can still only have 10 people. We can only have 10 people, David, if it's an outside service. Now, that's just absolutely insane. I don't care how many doctor's degrees you have. You can't back that up with science. You can't back that up with medicine. And you sure can't back it up with the Constitution to tell a church they can only have 10 people out in the parking lot for a service. It is unbelievable. And I've put up with it for 2 months, and tried my best to keep my people calm. We've prayed, we've sought God's face, and we have just waited and waited and waited, but this thing just keeps dragging out, and I couldn't take it no more.
I just pray that the rest of the pastors, the great priests, the Jewish community, start to get as active as you guys, and really seriously, it's time to rise up.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Pastor Shiflett and Pastor Lewis, are you going to have service tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We have 11 o'clock service and a 5 p.m. service, and we are honoring the 50% capacity guidelines that Governor Hogan put out. And so we're being careful about that. We're watching our numbers. We have several big overflow rooms with chairs 6 feet apart and an overhead projector and a screen for those that come in late that can't fit into the main sanctuary. But yes, we are having a Memorial Day service. We're going to honor the sacrifice of those who died and bled so that we can be free Americans. We are going to not only celebrate Memorial Day, but we're going to celebrate them by enjoying our First Amendment rights, where the First Amendment says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble. We are doing that tomorrow. We have the Constitution on our side. We have the Department of Justice on our side. We have the Attorney General on our side. And as of yesterday, thanks be unto God, we have President Donald Trump on our side.
Do you know that the president actually made that announcement during the Reopen Maryland rally?
That's what I was told.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to say we have Kevin Leary coming up probably after the break, who was the leader, and we're going to talk with him. But you had a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well,
Pastor
Lewis. I just want to thank Pastor Lewis for his kind words and his courage.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor.
And I have a question for Pastor Lewis. Pastor Lewis, are you going to be open? I wasn't sure that I heard that correctly.
Yes, absolutely. We will be open, and we also will be honoring those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms, our liberties, that, again, as Pastor Shiflett so eloquently stated, are guaranteed to us in the Constitution. If I might just have 30 seconds, something else after. I don't think most people are even looking at this. I know Pastor Shiflett's aware of it, but there's something bigger going on here, and that's the persecution of the Christian church. There was a church in Mississippi that was burned to the ground because they opened their church for services. The message that was spray painted in the parking lot said, I guess you'll stay home now. The church in Chicago that held services a couple weeks ago have been threatened to have their church closed by the health department and demolished if they continue to have church. This is going to start to pick up, and it will get worse before it gets better. So I want people to understand what's going on here. This is much bigger than it looks like.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, the Christian people and the Christian faith and also religion in general have been oppressed and under attack around the world. Different countries, obviously, we know about. We could be all night talking about it. But also in America. I mean, I think, and I know you guys agree with me, that there is an organized effort to oppress the Christian faith and to oppress faith in general. I mean, in America, there are too many people on the other side of the street who are opposed to having faith in God. So this to some extent has been taken advantage of under these conditions.
And Pastor Lewis, what time is your service going to be?
We also have an 11 a.m. service.
11 a.m. And what is your address? Because people don't know what your address is.
Right, I've been given the website for so long now, but we are at 2927 Hub Hill Road, right at the corner of Harvard Road.
That's not far from Northland Road, am I correct?
Maybe 200 yards, yeah.
Right there on the corner.
Okay, Dave, do you have anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, we're good for now. Looking forward. I'm taping the TV show tomorrow so I can watch it when I get home from church.
Yes, you will be starring once again in Super Citizen Television. And Frank Marchant, our magician, makes you look very good, by the way.
Yes. I'm going to hold on to
Getting ready to move.
Okay, and Pastor Shiflett has something he'd like to add.
One of the biggest arguments everyone keeps throwing at me.
I'll go to the housewarming party.
What we're doing is Romans
I'm going to the housewarming party.
Where it talks about being in subjection to those that are the higher powers. What they don't understand is that Romans 13 was written by a man by the name of Apostle Paul, who spent much of his ministry in prison, wrote much of the New Testament from prison for civil disobedience. And so maybe before they throw verses at pastors that have studied the scriptures, and take them out of context and twist them around. Maybe they need to understand exactly what the Apostle Paul was talking about. And we have honored our leaders. We do honor our leaders and respect them. But when they cross that line and they make edicts and orders that are completely contrary to the Constitution, somebody has to stand up for them. And I said this, and I won't say anything else. Either we have freedom and liberty of worship, or we have permission to worship. And as long as we settle for permission, we will never have liberty again.
Well, we're not subjects, we're citizens. All right, Valerie, you had a question. Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate it.
God bless.
God bless.
For Todd, yeah, Todd, you know, one of the things that I'm really concerned at is the cost factor of all these closures. You need, coming up in the next couple of months, people are going to be having to pay their property taxes. The county's got to be in the red. Can you give us a little more detail on all that?
Well, it's this is budget season, so the county council was given a budget by the county executive, and we have until June 1st to send it back to the county executive. We can only cut from the budget, we cannot add to it. So we've deliberated on those budgets. We were going to vote on them a week ago, but we decided to defer. It was a unanimous decision to defer. We're going to deliberate again later this week, and we'll vote this week and have the budget presented back to the county executive on June 1st, which is our obligation by law. You are correct. Yes. We are in I don't know if crisis is the right word, but we are in a desperate time financially as far as the government of Baltimore County is concerned. Revenue shortfalls are projected. There are various methodologies that have been used to arrive at these figures. We've gotten different figures from the administration, meaning the county executive's office, and our own analysts. And the gaps between those numbers are huge, and they're not easily surmountable, because when you talk about county government, you're talking about things like trash pickup, school buses, resurfacing roads. Every agency in Baltimore County that serves our constituency, sometimes our constituency doesn't even know, but these things all need to be paid for, and that's why we all pay taxes. But we're facing such revenue shortages that we're looking at things. The unions have already agreed to defer a negotiated pay raise. We may be looking at salary cuts. I would hate for us to get into furloughs, but there are so many things on the table right now because we have to submit a balanced budget. And knowing that shortfalls, income taxes are going to be down. There will be probably property tax revenue down, and I'm sure, Pat, what did you say that the $4 billion the state is about $4 billion down?
The latest number is $4 billion.
So this is going to be a very difficult budget. Now, my hope is that we don't have to rely on federal aid, that we can open up more quickly than we're doing, because the best thing to do to fix Baltimore County's budget woes, and it's going to be tight in the first quarter or two at least, but the best thing we can do to fix Baltimore County's budget woes is to get people back to work and be the productive members of society that so many of them have been for many years. That is the best solution. One of the things that sort of irks me that I hear in Towson, the county seat, is that, well, we're getting this federal money. This is federal, and it's not our money.
But that's only going to go so far.
Well, it belongs to but it's our money still.
Yes.
It might not be in the county's budget, but still.
Okay. Well, thank you. Listen, this is a great opportunity for our listening audience. I know they appreciate all the information, a lot of stuff I never knew, thought about, and it's really great to inform the public. But I want to thank Pastor SHIFFLET from the Calvary Baptist Church in Dundalk. That's at 7321 Manchester Road, and Councilman Todd Crandle from the 7th Council District. Both of you for sitting in with us tonight and helping our listeners to understand what's going on.
Thank you for asking us to be on.
Yeah, and
thank you, Pat, Valerie, for having us.
Yeah, and we'll get you back too, okay? If you don't mind, because things are going to go forward, especially in your life, Pastor. We'll get you back.
10 seconds. We will see, won't we?
Yes, we will. All right, and we will be right back. We have Kevin Leary, who was the leader of the, or at least one of the leaders of the protest and
Stay
the march.
connected with stimulating talk and breaking news on Talk Radio 680 WCBM, Baltimore, and WCBM.com.
Just in time for the holiday weekend. I'm Joe Chiura, Fox News. Life slowly starting to be a bit more normal for many Americans on Memorial Day weekend, with most states reopening even for some beachgoers.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
Two more states adding new reopening measures from Florida's lifting of restrictions.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna freaking do?
To New Jersey reopening its public and private recreational campgrounds, and in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis approved a reopening plan submitted by.
You need some fruit? You're a small business guy? Look, Benny Sedano. Go see Benny Sedano, all right? He's a good guy. He's got 410-799-7833. It's Ben's Produce. Call Benny Sedano, okay? Let us serve you. 410-799-7833. Ben Sedano. He's a good guy. Call him up, okay? Now, what else we got? I got a couple other things here.
There has been no one national lockdown. Instead, it's been up to each governor to decide how best to proceed.
Go get yourself a t-shirt. Bluefitch Apparel right there on Facebook. Call Steve Bluford, right? He's also a longshoreman brother. Local 333. Yeah, longshoreman. Yeah, strong and good. Always forever. All right, listen. Bluefitch Apparel on Facebook. Visitor call Steve Bluford at 443-278-4853. That's 443-278-4853. And ask for a t-shirt. Make excuses, all that stuff. Take a picture of your mom, your dog, whatever it is. Put on a t-shirt. A lot of fun. He's a nice man. He's not going to yell at you. He's a nice man.
The same situation will be evolving
Also,
in Madrid and Barcelona on Monday. Some less hard-hit cities in Spain can open a bit longer, but Spain
WCBM, the McDonough show, Ron. So
to the extent that it's even going to open its doors to
Rob,
from July.
Fox's Amy Kellogg. America is listening to Fox News.
Anyway, you got to talk about the opening of the state.
This is the moment when America comes together.
And Fox News Channel is with you every step of the way.
There are so many uplifting
Yeah,
stories, people helping each other.
America's best shines brightest when needed the most. The spirit of generosity
Okay.
has been enormous.
All right. Have a good weekend.
We are resilient. Thanks to her citizens.
Oh, that's it. That's how you do it. That's what you do. That's what you do. That's what you do. And you can't be sad because your towels are messed up in the bathroom. Wait a minute, your towels are messed up in the bathroom. You got to call Vince's Towel Works. Vince Palmer, owner and operator. Go to Facebook and see his work. Vince Palmer, right? Vince's Towel Works. He will fix your bathroom. He's a nice man, and he's also part of Local 333 Longshoreman. Go to Facebook. Vince's Towel Works. Yes, pictures of him in the bathroom. It's nice man in the bathroom fixing stuff. You'll see all his good work. He's a nice man. Tell him Ron Savage sent you, and he'll get you a urinal puck for free. All right, see? That's how that goes.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo reminding people not to underestimate the coronavirus.
We know that it can rear its ugly head at any moment. But what do we need to do? It's not rocket science. Wear a mask, wash your hands.
Did you say something else in the commercial?
Use hand sanitizer.
Oh.
But most of all, wear a mask.
Cuomo in his daily briefing. Some experts in the health industry comparing the U.S. response to the virus to France.
Having assisted the effort in Italy, Captain Jacek Szewiera of the Polish Military Institute
Oh, good.
came to Chicago. He saw the United States go to extremes with prevention and
That's a good thing.
which did not. Hospitals and staff were
That's a good thing.
Equipment, pharmaceuticals were in short supply, and doctors were making the choice about which patient would get a ventilator, which would not. When he saw the U.S. was different, the population took the threat seriously. The government tapped into every available resource, like the National Guard. Szewiera came to Chicago because the Polish military has a long-standing partnership with the Illinois National Guard. Together, they converted Chicago's McCormick Place Convention Center into a field hospital, which ultimately did not get much use. Szewiera credits precautions.
Fox's Mike Tobin. A mother in Florida has been arrested in the death of her 9-year-old autistic boy. Patricia Rickley was taken into custody in Dade County early today after police say she admitted to killing the boy. Police say she drowned him in a canal on a nearby golf course. They called police saying 2 black men robbed her and kidnapped her.
That's what you do.
Dade Police Director Alfredo
Oh my
Ramirez.
God, I'm deeply saddened for what happened to that young boy. And then for her to displace blame of her crime on another community
It's just this another crime that was committed.
Ripley has been charged with second-degree murder. I'm Joe Sheehan, Fox News.
Temperatures are headed to the cool side of Arizona. Finish out the weekend Sunday after a
So I'm very glad that you joined us.
Clouds stick around for Sunday night, 54 for the overnight low, and then after early clouds Monday, see some afternoon sunshine.
Tomorrow,
Shade, get up to
go watch your television at 10 o'clock because Super Citizen Radio with Pat McDonough on my TV, right? Check it out at 10 o'clock. Also, on Comcast, Channel 24, on Verizon, Channel 46. On Verizon. That's tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Super Citizen with Pat McDonough. Be there, be square. Huh? Now, you want to go ahead and be part? You want to call up and be part of it? Well, supercitizen.com. There's supercitizen.com. You go right there. Or you can dial to join Super Citizen. It's 410-238-0025. 410-238-0025. Join us, supercitizenusa.com. Supercitizenusa.com. And to, yeah. Oh, I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of them so we can have a share. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Angel, do you have any videos or sponsor
I went to get my permit, they didn't make it focus for a while. We were there for like 2 hours. And then I went up, I asked the lady, I was like, how long they were there? She said, like 2 hours.
I'll order after the opening.
Well, now you can't get it. But when you want to go get it, let me know. When you want to get
Radio on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Super Citizen Radio Network with Pat and Valerie McDonough. We're with you every Saturday evening from 8 until 10. And I got to tell you, that first hour was fascinating. These are two people, and of course, our good friend, Pastor Lewis. And there's a lot of people out there that are fighting back.
Well, I think something that's really interesting is we're going to have Pastor Lewis, Pastor SHIFFLET, and we're going to have Todd CRANDLE back because the one thing that's coming, you know, we just couldn't cover everything, all the problems that this closure is causing.
Right.
I mean, we were talking about the tax base, we're talking about people with jobs, we're talking about getting people back to work, and keeping Baltimore County closed is not helping.
No,
you know,
makes things worse.
In fact, a lot of people are starting to lose their house now.
Well, and you can tell, I mean, we talked to our neighbor today, and she's a young woman, and she's like aggravated. You know, she has 2 small children, and her husband, of course. But a lot of people are getting frustrated and getting to the point where we need to have change. And I am saying, and I've said it before, a lot of these politicians are lazy. They don't want to do the extra work it takes to micromanage and to do smart things like the pastor is doing with his church. He set it up in such a way that he's following all of the constraints and all of the rules to be safe. Now you can do that. I mean, my God, if you can have people going into Target and Walmart, you can tell me people should not be able to go into a small neighborhood retail outlet that can practice the same kinds of restraints and safety measures. So they just don't want to do it. In a lot of cases, they're lazy. But on the other hand, and I've said this before, and I truly believe this, there are right brains and left brains in this country. And all the left brains belong to the Democrats. And if you look at the governors in the top 7 states, the biggest 7 states in this country, where 65% of the virus is, they're all Democrats, and they're all heavily overkilling everything. It's the Republican governors in Republican states, and especially look at the mayors, like the mayor of Chicago. Look at Mayor Jack Young. My God, I mean, this is ridiculous. He's telling his people in the city not to come out and be open until August. my God, the city was already in trouble. The city was already anti-business. The city was already anti-jobs. And now you're going to kill the people in Little Italy, the restaurants.
Yeah.
They are trying to open the restaurants, even for outdoor service.
I'm seeing more and more foreclosures coming. I'm seeing more houses being lost, and it's all because of dumb decisions that the mayor has, our county executive has. I mean, come on, think about it. These people do not have money right now. They're not working. And when you have something like that, that's a disaster.
Well, the medications for stress are up by 30% in America. 90% of the screenings for cancer, now this is serious stuff, have been postponed at the hospitals. The hospitals are in serious trouble. At least $4 billion in debt, according to Peter Franchot, that the state is already in trouble. We already had a debt, and now it's $4 billion, and it grows. And what Olszewski and the council, besides Councilman Todd Crandle, what they don't, I know they know this, but they just don't care for some reason, that every single day and every single week that you have this county closed down, these businesses closed down, you are closing the money spout. And you got to make that up somewhere.
What I would like to know is how many deaths are caused by the stress of not having a job, getting ready to lose your home, getting ready to lose your business. I would like to know the number of that, because
there needs to be an assessment of that.
And what about the people's mental health issues that this is causing, the depression,
You're talking about all human issues, and when this is all settled down, when this thing is conquered, and when people are going to reflect and look back, there's going to be a very different attitude, whether President Trump is reelected or not. God help us if he isn't. But people are going to look back, number one, at China, where, maybe 150,000 people were killed in this country, and our senior citizens were killed in this country, and around the world, millions. People are going to look back at how politicians handled the crisis, how they managed it. People are going to begin to settle down, and they're going to reflect when their lives return to normal, and they're going to say, how much money have I lost? How much of my 401k have I lost? How much have I been set back on my job? How much education have my children been denied? How is this going to affect my smaller children, this experience? Right now, people can't focus. They're suffering through the crisis. But I'm telling you, I'm warning you, political leaders, there is going to pay a price to pay when this all settles down and the people begin to understand what happened. Why did I lose my constitutional rights? How much of my constitutional rights did I lose? Why did the government so overreact and overkill and not have a sense of responsibility for the Constitution?
Yep.
People are going to begin to think about this. But anyway, if you'd like to join us, 410-922-6680, 410-922-6680. The show is now open. We're going to talk about other subjects also. Or 1-800-922-6680 is the toll-free long-distance number. But we want to talk, was it yesterday, Valerie, we were at
Yes, it was yesterday we were at the rally, the Reopen Maryland rally.
It was chilly and it was rainy. And
it was raining,
It was rough. It was rough. And it was a good crowd. It was a good crowd. It was a lot of enthusiasm there.
Yes.
So,
and what I noticed, what was interesting was we were talking about young people.
WCBM, McDonough show runs. That was who's called tonight?
There were a lot of young people.
A lot of young people.
We're going to talk with Kevin Leary. And I know Kevin was one of the leaders, or was the leader, we don't know. But Kevin, welcome to the program.
Of not getting money?
I am one of 5 of the group.
Well, explain to us how it all got. We know why it got started, obviously, but explain to us how it all got organized, and where do we go from here?
Well, we started last Friday, and as soon as Johnny
WCBM, the Tom McDonough show runs. Sarah speaking, who's calling tonight? Yeah, Bobby, just switch. You can talk about anything you want.
Founders.
Yeah, I was like, man, I was sad to say bye, man. I didn't want to ever say bye.
And she asked me if I was
It's okay.
No,
He tells people
from last
this
Friday.
is the subject matter. These guys, he's got 2 guests,
Today,
and they're talking the whole time. They didn't let anybody know anyway. I don't know. I'm a goofball. Maybe I'm thinking wrong.
That's incredible.
So it's moving in the right direction.
And what'd you like to talk tonight about, Bob?
And yesterday, despite the weather, we had a great crowd.
It was a good crowd, yeah.
I really do
Okay.
appreciate you guys
That's
coming
great.
out, and I wanted to say thank you to Pastor Shiflet and Todd. But,
Oh, boy.
I hope they're listening, because
Wow.
I said it on the site, and
What?
I wanted to say it to them so they could hear my voice. Tell them thank you,
What?
because I really do appreciate
That's
it.
right. You're
Well,
absolutely
they're
right.
listening, Kevin, so they're good.
And
That's
Kevin,
right.
another thing, we also have to thank Pastor,
We call that a legend in
Senator
our own
Johnny
mind.
Salings for showing up, Delegate Bogler, and
Oh my God.
Right. Those three showed
That's
up.
right.
Todd showed up.
Well, Bob, I'm gonna put you on now, and you got Kevin, Mark, and then you.
I mean,
All right, and
the
a
amount of
happy
people that
Memorial.
turned out. It
Thank you
was
so
like
much.
watching America grow.
Take it
So
off.
what is the future? What are the plans at this point?
WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show. Ron Sauer speaking. Who's calling tonight?
Posted a petition.
Yeah, you can talk about anything now, Rich.
Trying to try to ask
You can talk about anything you want now.
politicians in Baltimore County who are in support of these draconian measures to donate 45 days worth of their salary. to
Yeah, and you want to talk about the
workers that are out
opening of
work
the
right
state?
now.
Oh, I like it.
I love it, but I don't think it's good that they're gonna do it.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
You got it, Rich.
But
Hold on
it's
now.
good because it gets everybody,
You're welcome.
you know, in the right way of thinking. You know, I'm not making any money. Why should you be making any money?
Correct. They're sitting up on their high horse, looking down at us, saying, "Do this, do that," while they sit home and they don't have to worry about where their next meal's coming from because they get a paycheck. There's thousands of people in the state that have not been able to get unemployment and have not gotten their stimulus yet. So where are they getting their
Well, then the governor should give his salary up.
Correct.
He's in charge of the unemployment.
I included all the Baltimore County officials, and you've seen me call out the governor.
Everybody listen.
On
Claude Melcher's here.
Kevin, who are the
Claude
you
Melcher's
said there are
here.
other folks
Claude
that are helping
Melcher.
out with this? Could you name them? I mean, they deserve to be get
God, love 'em.
Sure. Tony Campbell joined us, Trish Stone, Mary Taylor, and Aaron Boyer.
Okay.
They're
All right.
all Baltimore County residents and all ready to fight. And
All right. Good.
They're all
we
good
wanna
governors.
give
Good
them
golfing,
credit
eh?
Also, and I know you were there, and you did a good
I wanna
job.
give them credit.
Yeah, you did a good job because at one point it was getting late in the game, and you made the decision to institute a march, which was pretty good, I think, because everybody was ready to march at that point.
Right, and you know, when I was standing there in that courtyard and I was at the same level as everybody, I did not realize how big of a crowd it was until I walked up on top of those steps and looked back and saw how many people were.
Yeah, in a very short period of time.
Correct.
And when I said
people are just angry.
well, they deserve to be, and also I'll tell you one thing. Besides being angry, anger is a good thing. I like anger, but I'll tell you another thing. You got to be concerned because, as I said in my remarks just before we brought you on,
2 minutes.
when this thing settles down and people begin to reflect on what we went through and what happened and what is this all about. For example, I'll give you an example. A law group, legal foundation that I'm associated with, one of the things that's going to be pushed by the legal foundation is to go to the Supreme Court to have a revisit of special powers. And what do they really mean? How much special powers does Johnny Olszewski or the governor have? And it needs to be consistent. And
Right.
that has to be determined.
Speaking of that, of the legal end of it, we are in contact with some attorneys and we are preparing to possibly go to the legal route with it.
Well, if you need some
Claude-
assistance, we have,
Claude Melcher.
you know what Judicial Watch is.
Right.
Yeah, well, Valerie and I are both members of Judicial Watch, but there is a new local Judicial Watch that's starting up. That we really, as you've been around, you know, we need something like this.
Yes, we do.
And they are getting started, so, you know, if you need some help, let me know, or Valerie, and we'll talk to these folks and see if they can help out.
So next week we are going to join Reopen Baltimore County and Reopen Maryland.
Right.
Joining forces next week in Annapolis.
Yeah, well, we had the guy that's active there. What was his name? Jim?
Jim Was.
Jim Was, yeah. He was
Right.
on,
I just had a conversation with him this morning.
Well, he was on our show 2 weeks ago.
yeah, and he called in last week, actually. But that's good to combine forces and also to keep it going in Baltimore County. And let us know, either email us or whatever, and we'll keep it alive, or at least, you know, let people know about it on radio. And also, we have a huge, unlimited email network that we control, so we can get a lot of information out.
I just want the people out there who are against us to realize that we're not trying to force you to come out of your house. You know, if you're scared, stay home. But the people who are
scared, man.
Get back to life. We need to get back to work. We got to get. There's 150 restaurants in the state of Maryland.
Hi, everybody. God bless all of you.
How many jobs? Yeah, 15 million small businesses nationwide.
Suicides are spiking. Addictions are spiking. There's no services for these people because everything's shut down, and we need to open things back up.
We do, and we need to do, everything needs to be done better. It needs to be done in a more smart way, like the pastor. The pastor was a great example. The way he laid out the details of what was done during his services, he covered everything. So, I mean, I don't disagree with people. The understanding is clear that this is a dangerous thing, and one of the most dangerous parts about it is we don't know everything about it. We don't really know. I'm going to talk next week about some things that we found out from a scientific group in India and one in Australia. The amazing things that they found out about this virus, about how it's made and how it's been manipulated. But we don't know. So it is dangerous, but we've got to be careful. I mean, I wear my mask all the time. I stay 6 feet away from Valerie.
like Todd said, that was fun. In the beginning, you know, we were all willing to comply, and because we thought we wanted to see what we were dealing with. Well, now we know what we're dealing with, and we didn't see the surge that they were telling us was going to happen. And the only surge that happened was in the nursing home.
Now, here's something that's also interesting. They said heat will kill the virus. Well, guess what? How hot was it today?
81.
81. Okay, so now what happens?
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. You know, the other thing that came out...
It'll kill the virus.
Well, let's do that. The other thing we found out today, which was interesting, was one of the reports from one of the legitimate scientific groups that the virus does not really stay on surfaces. Your chances of getting it off the surfaces are like 5%. It only stays for a very small period of time. Well, that's something new. They found that through scientific discovery. And so we will learn things. We will get to know things. But anyway, Kevin, thanks for the work you're doing, and for the other folks, Tony and Trish and Aaron that are working with you, and keep up the good work. Let us know, and we will try to help you by promoting it.
We will keep you in the loop, and we always have to remember that our freedoms don't end where people's fear begins.
Right.
Okay, thank you, sir. Take care.
Have a good night.
All right.
You too, Kevin.
All right.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye. All right, we need to take a break. We'll be back. We've got some callers we're going to talk with, and we're going to talk about some other subjects. Joe Biden said that black people are only allowed to vote for Democrats. That's pretty arrogant. We'll be right back.
WCBM reaches all types of entrepreneurs, businesses, associations, and specialists. Now is your chance to explain live, by way of your own radio show, exactly how your business or association can benefit the WCBM listener through block time. You control the dialogue. You control the subject matter. You control your own results. This is a great opportunity that WCBM can give to you. For more information, call 410-580-5231. Are you always apologizing for your dog's behavior? Need help communicating? At K9 Concepts, we can solve your problems. The answer to your problems is a phone call away. Call 410-477-2000 for a free demo evaluation. Call 410-477-2000. Obedience, protection, handicapped assistance, boarding, grooming, puppy preschool. Visit K9Concepts.com. The best for your dog. Call 410-477-2000. 477-2000.
Hey, now, attorney spokesperson. Attention, if you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications such as chronic pain, infection, wound reopening, mesh migration, bowel obstruction, need revision surgery, or other complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Hernia repair surgery is common and requires a mesh product to be implanted inside your body. In May of 2016, the manufacturer of a popular hernia mesh product issued a mandatory global recall due to product defects. If you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Call the Hernia Mesh Helpline now at 800-509-0867. Our experienced attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. You pay nothing unless we get a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call the Hernia Mesh Helpline now, 800-509-0867. Operators are standing by 24/7. Call 800-509-0867. That's 800-509-0867.
While I was lying in an army hospital in Germany, my parents got a letter that said I had 48 hours to live. They even sent a flag to put on my coffin.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I left the military with a traumatic brain injury, and when I got home, I fought depression, anxiety, and alcohol, and had nothing to look forward to.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
With DAV's help, my world changed 100%. I was able to build a new life for myself.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories great and small.
I'm Adam Greathouse, Army veteran.
But there are more victories to be won.
My victory is just feeling alive and experiencing life.
Adam Greathouse, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
If you text while driving, you're on your way to becoming a statistic. People who text and drive are more likely to cause an accident. Please pull over out of traffic and stop so your life doesn't. A message from The Garden Show and host Alan Summers. Listen each Saturday from 7 to 8 a.m. for Maryland's premier garden show on the radio. That's Saturdays at 7 a.m. exclusively on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
Okay, we are back. Let us take a couple of phone calls from our people out there. How about Richard in Baltimore? Richard, good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening, everybody. Just got a couple of quick, a few quick comments I wanted to make. The first thing I want to say is I really love and respect Pastor Lewis and the pastor from Dundalk, but they did say something that's really not acceptable to me, that they're obeying the governor's guideline of only 50% capacity. I can't agree with that. The governor does still not have that authority. And it's not a thing they have under the Constitution.
No,
and,
I agree with you.
Yeah, and but I have something here I wanted to read for you real quick, but I lost it. Oh no, here I have it. If I could just take a minute to read something.
If it's not too long.
Yeah, okay. If they're involved in Judicial Watch,
yes.
In the American Jurisprudence, 2nd edition, Legal Encyclopedia of United States Law, under suspension of the Constitution is prohibited as follows. It says, it is sometimes argued that the existence of an emergency allows the existence and operation of powers, national or state, which violate the inhibitions of the federal Constitution. The rule is quite otherwise. No emergency justifies the violation of any of the provisions of the United States Constitution. And that's Section 71. But, and then I'm concerned because they just made the federal judge just ruled in favor of Governor Hogan. So we're up the creek. I mean, if we're going to...
Well, here's what's going to happen, Richard, from a legal point of view. there is a lot of uncertainty. There have been cases in the past, both at the appeals level and at the Supreme Court level, talking about addressing power of the political power to overcome or to adjust the powers of the Constitution. And there's kind of a mismatch all over the place. But we are now living in an era of something different. In 1918, when we had the so-called Spanish flu, the federal government did not participate at all. In fact, the president at that time, Woodrow Wilson, did not even mention the Spanish flu, nor did he even put forth any programs related to law or policy in relationship to the Spanish flu. He was just overwhelmed with and preoccupied with the First World War. But this is the first time that we are having something of this level, of this magnitude, of this impact on our constitutional rights since that time. And now it needs to be addressed. There isn't any question, as I've said before, and I'll keep repeating it, when everything settles down and this thing subsides and there is a vaccine or there is a treatment or we know more,
Deborah.
there are going to be legal challenges all over the country, almost in every
Deborah's here.
state,
Deborah's here.
at the federal level, and the Supreme Court is going to have to make a modern decision as to what powers are there and what powers are reserved for the Constitution.
Well, Oregon judge said it was null and void, and it's either that or it's Liberty Tree hanging. You know, I mean, people have their gifts from God taken away, and they've been defended with the lives of hundreds of thousands of patriots.
And they're very much right in that, especially on the idea with Memorial Day here, Memorial Weekend. Thank you, Richard.
Pat, I have somebody sent me a question, and they want to know, does the president have the right to override the governor's decision to open churches?
See, that's another point that's indecisive. I mean, the president is the chief elected official of the United States. He's the only official elected by all of the people of the country, not all of them voting for him, but he's the only elected official that is voted for by all of the people of the country.
Bada
and
bing,
he is
bada boom.
the chief magistrate of the
we go.
country. So what is his
There he is. Look at this guy right
relationship
there, right there.
to
Look at
federalism and states' rights? These are all things that are very indecisive as to where the real power is. Now, the question is, does the president also have certain powers? For example, can he withhold money or certain kinds of things that go to the state from the federal government because he disagrees with the governor of that state? I don't know, but I can tell you this. It's going to be coming to the forefront, and it's going to be debated in the next couple of weeks, because we have now reached an impasse where these Democrat governors and some Republicans like Larry Hogan, who are big on lockdowns and disrespect for the Constitution, are going to be challenged by this president. He has said he's going to be challenging them, especially in the arena of faith and places of worship. So that's certainly going to come to the fore. Here is another call from Mark, who is in Baltimore. Mark, good evening.
Come on, baby. Go ahead, Mark.
Good evening, Shavuot. First, I want to wish you and all the listeners a meaningful Memorial Day holiday services coming Monday. Also, before I get to my main point, living here in Baltimore City, I'm hoping one of these days that Lord Jack, as we call him, will release the city from martial law that it is under.
Hey, Mark, let me scare you to death, okay?
What did you say?
Let me scare you to death, okay?
Go ahead.
Mayor Jack is not going to win the election next week on June the 2nd, but guess what?
Thank you.
But guess what? He's going to be in power until December.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that is scary, isn't it?
That's right. That's why we call him Lord Jack, one of the feudal landlords.
Well, he's out of control. He's as dumb as a box of rocks. He hasn't made a good decision since he's been mayor. And the people of Baltimore City, there's got to be a point where they really start to rebel against this, as you put out, with this Lord Jack stuff, and this oppression that he's forcing upon the people.
Right. Well, maybe
No, it's Pat.
This
is Andy, right?
Annual National Day of Prayer. I believe it was May 7th. Earlier this month. President Hogan
He's got the main
Hogan came out with the
I'm the survivor. But keep on. Where you calling from, Andy?
Surgeries or whatever else that needed to be done for those individuals, virus
And would you like to talk about
victims or patients who had to suffer for missing out on treatment on a whole lot of things, and it's
okay.
listing from chemotherapy, so whatever.
It's a good story.
So here's the question. If someone has a cancer thing, and if it had not been treated because they were shut out from treatment for however long the time...
hold on, Andy. We'll see when we get you on.
Do they have the right to sue in court against the state or whoever?
Interesting.
What's talking about
for negligence, gross negligence.
They
They are trying to pass a law, and the governor at some point is going to call a special session to pass a law to protect hospitals, businesses, and nursing homes against lawsuits. Now, you've got to think about a couple of different things. Well, the hospitals are doing a good job and doing the best job they can. Businesses are just being forced to do what they do, but the nursing home industry is unique. It's different. The nursing home industry has engaged in negligence, and the governor has engaged in negligence in reference to the nursing home industry, and as a result, elderly and frail people have died unnecessarily. So there are going to be a lot of lawsuits about that. And I'm going to tell you, if you are going to allow gross negligence to be acceptable and to not protect the family and the loved one, then you are really out of control when it comes to people's rights.
All right, just one quick thing before I go. I'm glad that President Trump came up with a statement asking that all places of worship open. I'm hoping all the shuls, synagogues, and temples will open up very quickly as well, besides the other religious affiliations as well.
Absolutely.
Because we have a lot to be praying for, obviously. So listen, keep up the good work. Hope everyone have a meaningful observance this coming Monday, and I wish you all shalom.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Anyway, let's talk about for a minute that Joe Biden. I want to switch things. Joe Biden was on with a black talk show host, and the black talk show host happened to be somewhat of a conservative, not a total conservative, but had some independent thinking, in other words.
Yeah.
So Biden said, "You got to be kidding! A black person is not for me. You're not black if you're not for me." I mean, how arrogant can you be?
I'm doing all
but
right,
this is
man.
the arrogance of the Democrat Party, which puts black people on the Democrat plantation, and where President Trump said, "What have you got to lose? What have you gained?"
And would you like to talk
So
to Mr. Pat tonight?
this is how, and there was a talk show on earlier on another station today in the morning or afternoon, who I think was wrong about some of his conclusions.
You got
First of all, he said, well, Biden's going to get 90% of the black vote. Doesn't matter what he says. Well, number one is wrong about that. Trump got 8 to 10 to 12% of the black vote in the last election. And according to various polls, he's doing even better in the black community. A lot of people think, well, you've got to be kidding. The Republicans will never get 50% of the black vote. No, they don't have to. If a Republican candidate gets 50% of the black vote,
but I'll put him on. I always try to get him on. He's a lot of fun, man. Really
is in trouble. And if President Trump nationally gets 15% of the black vote, he's going to win a lot of states.
We'll see.
So that's all you need to do. And it's moving in that direction.
Randy Williams
to the polls. He's not going to get
Randy
20,
Williams.
25, but 15% he is capable of achieving. But Joe Biden is an example of the radical Democrat Party and their ownership of the black vote and the black community. We're going to try to get another call in here.
2 minutes.
Before the break, we're going to talk with Bob in Parkville. Bob, good evening.
Good evening, Pat.
Valerie.
Valerie!
I just wanted to say that, first of all, you know, I'm a veteran. And I just want to say, I'll be calling you on Monday, Pat, about the situation in regard to some of these VA buildings and all this. But I just want to wish you, remember to say a prayer for those who died for our country.
Yes, and thank you for your services.
Thank you, and I want to talk about this bald-headed guy down in City Hall. Well, we got him, and we got Johnny Zero out in Baltimore County. We got the bouncing file out there in Howard County, and I don't know what the hell is in Ronald.
And well, it's a socialist.
You got that right.
We're surrounded by socialists.
And but in regard to this
yo-yo down in City Hall. He's been on this president's back about Fort McHenry. He has no jurisdiction, this mayor, as far as Fort McHenry is
He probably doesn't know that, Bob.
federal land. That's federal land.
Yeah, he probably doesn't know that.
National park. So this idiot, he's trying to hustle the president, and then he says it's non-essential for that trip.
What an insult to the veterans.
Well, you tell it to me. I'm in my 80s and I'll kick his ass.
Hey, Bob, you can't say that on radio, but you know what? I think he does need a good kicking.
Well, if I can't do it with my hands, I'll find something to do it with. I guarantee you that.
I'll tell you, I feel sorry for Jack Young. He has been the dumbest mayor, and that's saying something, right?
Well, he's been down there. Well, he was the president of the city council, now the mayor. And this yo-yo is the vice president of the city council. He's just endorsed by the Sun paper.
That's kiss of well, I'll tell you, Monday I will be ranting and raving. Valerie will not be there to contain or refrain me.
I'll be right with you.
And I will be predicting the next mayor Monday.
Well,
Yay!
this guy ever became
Yay!
I hate to tell you this, but I think who it's going to be. Sheila's going to win.
She has a shot, but I'll explain why she may have a problem. Not now. I'll save it for Monday.
That would be a kick in the ass, too, to put a criminal.
Bob, language.
All right, Bob. Thanks for the call. Anyway, on that note, and on that commentary, we'll take a break.
All right.
Temperatures are headed to the cool side of average to finish out the weekend Sunday after a warm Saturday. We'll keep it
Probably
warm
CBM and Pat
tonight.
McDonough shirt on Saturday,
50s
sticking his
and
calls.
clouds build in. It'll be a gray Sunday for us as we get up into the upper 60s. Clouds stick around for Sunday night, 54 for the overnight low. And then after early clouds Memorial Day Monday, we will see some afternoon sunshine. Keep the grill close to some shade. We'll get up to the mid-70s for the high. I'm Jeff Eno from Weather Channel for Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
Rick Edelman here. Join me to find out what you need to do with your investments, savings, and all your personal finances in these volatile times. I'm also answering questions, so tune in to the Rick Edelman Show every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon, right here on WCBM 680.
Allow me to offer some sound advice. More than 35 million men, women, and children have hearing loss, and the number is growing. You need to begin your journey toward healthy hearing now by calling Clarity and Comfort Hearing Center at 410-256-1006. The center is located in Perry Hall. Begin your journey to healthy hearing by calling Clarity and Comfort Hearing Center at 410-256-1006. This message is sound advice.
While I was lying in an Army hospital in Germany, my parents got a letter that said I had 48 hours to live. They even sent a flag to put on my coffin.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I left the military with a traumatic brain injury, and when I got home, I fought depression, anxiety, and alcohol, and had nothing to look forward to.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
With DAV's help, my world changed 100%. I was able to build a new life for myself.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
I'm Adam Greathouse, Army veteran.
But there are more victories to be won.
My victory is just feeling alive and experiencing life.
Adam Greathouse, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Our veterans risked it all to protect our freedoms. And now they need our help as we all fight the coronavirus. At an unprecedented time in history, our most vulnerable veterans are isolated at hospitals. And during their greatest time of need, their family, hospital volunteers, and staff can have little or no contact with them. Being alone can be terrifying, but we all can help. Help Heal Veterans, with the support of citizens like you, creates, manufactures, and distributes therapeutic art and craft projects for our veterans and military, at no charge to them. We invite you to join us in supporting an isolated or sick veteran and help them through this desperate time. To learn more, visit healvets.org. This message is furnished by Help Heal Veterans, a not-for-profit organization that has been helping veterans for nearly 50 years. healvets.org.
Listen every Sunday from 6:05 to 6:20 a.m. for a broadcast from the internationally known St. Jude Shrine in Baltimore. St. Jude is the patron saint of despair and hopeless cases. Join us in prayer every Sunday from 6:05 to 6:20 a.m. on WCBM.
Aches and pains, anxiety, trouble sleeping, need some help? Tune in to Understanding CBD with Max and Steven. Sundays from 2 to 3 p.m. exclusively on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
When your vehicle needs help, Jeff's Automotive Services is the place to go. Your vehicle will be worked on by Automotive Service ASE certified technicians. Jeff services all vehicles, including cars, SUVs, trucks, both medium and light duty, and there are always specials available at Jeff's Automotive Services. Just call 410-682-5700. Jeff's Automotive Services is locally owned and conveniently located in the heart of Essex at 313 Mace Avenue. Jeff's is the winner of the Best Automotive Service Award for 2019 by the Avenue Newspaper's Readers Poll. Jeff's offers 10% discounts to all seniors and active military members and would like to thank our military members for their service. Jeff's Automotive Services has a name you can trust. Remember, call 410-682-5700 for Jeff's Automotive Services.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Attention, if you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications such as chronic pain, infection, wound reopening, mesh migration, bowel obstruction, need revision surgery, or other complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Hernia repair surgery is common and requires a mesh product to be implanted inside your body. In May of 2016, the manufacturer of a popular hernia mesh product issued a mandatory global recall due to product defects. If you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Call the Hernia Mesh Helpline now at 800-509-0867. Our experienced attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. You pay nothing unless we get a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call the Hernia Mesh Helpline now, 800-509-0867. Operators are standing by 24/7. Call 800-509-0867. That's 800-509-0867.
Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I want to remind you that tomorrow on TV, Super Citizen Television at 10 a.m. prime time, Sinclair Broadcasting, 10 a.m. On Channel 24 on Comcast, Channel 46 on Verizon. It's on Direct, what is it, Direct Dish, or what is that called?
Direct TV.
Direct TV and Dish TV, and also on YouTube at supercitizenusa.com. Joe Biden has been having a rough week. Besides the racist remarks that he made about the black community as voters, of course, he's having trouble with Tara Reid, her accusations about his sexual abuse. But a big article in the USA Today newspaper on Friday said that Joe Biden has allowed the Bernie Sanders organization to take control of his Policy and Issues Committee, which means these are the people that are going to draw up the platform for the Democrat nomination, the Democrat Party for the presidential candidate, which includes the $10 trillion new Green New Deal with, of course, AOC and that whole bunch in charge. So now the Democrat Party has officially become the Socialist Party under control of the socialist radicals, and that's going to be their platform. What is interesting is that even though Joe Biden has sold the ship, sold out the Democrat Party, the people who are voters and supporters of Bernie 25% of them will not vote for Biden. They're going to vote for a third-party candidate, even though he has given them everything they want. This is interesting, too. The allegations from Tara Reid that she was sexually assaulted by Biden while working for his Senate office also has brought additional scrutiny from voters. Biden has emphasized and denied that the allegations. Almost half, 45% of the voters between the ages of 18 and 34 believe Reid's allegations are true. Can you believe that? 45% of the voters between 18 and 34. And 60% of the voters believe that the allegations need to be addressed and not dismissed. Let me tell you something. Joe Biden is in big trouble. Don't let the radical left and the fake news tell you otherwise. It's all a bunch of baloney. All right, let's talk to some of our callers. We'll talk to Alex in Baltimore. Alex, good evening.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call, Pat. I was hoping you'd have a different take on the Biden thing, but I think a lot of Republican and conservative pundits are going about it all wrong. You mentioned the host having independent views. I don't know how true that is, but, the interview didn't end right there. He was able to say something else. And what the host said after Biden made this supposed gaffe, he said, hey, I'm just trying to get something.
Hey, how you doing, Heather?
Talking about
what's up, Heather?
People. You see with Kanye West, he meets with the president, and then he's ostracized by the whole black community.
Right, yeah.
So.
Well, the point is that Joe Biden, I saw the interview. Joe Biden reflects the Democrat elitist attitude and the dismissal of the black community is to be taken for granted.
I hear what you're saying, but we need to understand why black people vote the way they do. What are the Democrats promising? They're promising slavery reparations. They're promising hate speech legislation. Okay? These are not things that...
well, I think we ought to think about... those promises are unrealistic. First of all, we ought to be voting, we should be voting for realistic issues like jobs, like the creation of jobs, like equality in health care issues, disparities, things of that nature.
Look, in an ideal world, that would happen, but black people vote for the Democrat Party more than people got. They vote with more support than Saddam Hussein got.
Yeah, I understand, but it is changing among the polling that's been done among younger voters, black voters under 35. The numbers are very interesting. They're getting to the point now where, and listen, you can't take away from Trump the fact that he got 8 to 12% of the black vote in the last election in certain areas. And besides that, in the current polling, he's over around 8 to 12 to 15%. And I think a lot of black people, well, wait a minute, hold up. I think a lot of black people, when they get on a poll, somebody calling them or whatever, they're a little hesitant to say I'm for Trump. But a lot of black people that I talk to out on the streets and in the supermarkets and different places that I go who come up to me because they know who I am, and they say to me, we're going to vote for Trump.
Listen, it's a poor strategy. There's 13% of the population. Trump gets double what any other Republican would get, and we're patting ourselves on the back because we got 10% of the vote.
Well, that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
That's what I'm saying.
My friend, you got to learn how to count. Hold on, you got to learn how to count. If a Republican in a competitive race with a Democrat, where there is a black community involved, gets 15% of the vote, they're in good shape.
Let me say one
Check
more
it
thing.
out.
Cut me off. Look, white people have proven themselves over and over to be the most malleable voting group. The Republican Party would have nothing to worry about if they would point out the anti-white policies of the Democrats instead of trying to support this extra 1-2%.
God bless you. God bless you. You are so right about that. And what was that guy's name? Dinesh did that great movie.
Dinesh D'Souza.
Dinesh D'Souza on that point. Alex, I can't argue with you. You're right. Okay, we're going to take a break. No, we're not going to take a break. We got some more time. I thought we were done. All right, well, let's go and talk with Andy over in Catonsville. Andy, good evening. Andy. Well, Andy's not there. He wanted to talk about Trump coming to Fort McHenry. The president is coming there to honor our fallen heroes, and Knucklehead Jack. I mean, would you expect anything? Well, Valerie and I know Jack. Okay, he's a nice guy, right, Valerie?
Yes.
He is
a very, very nice man.
He's a nice man, but I don't know who is advising him. the heck is wrong with him?
I think he's got the funny brain syndrome.
It's very sad. It's very sad. And we're going to talk about the mayor. Jack is going to run last, believe me. Jack is going to run last. And he did it to himself. Nobody else did it to him. He's the mayor, and he's got $1 million, and he's running last out of 6 people. If there were 8 people, he'd be running 8. If there were 20 people, he'd be running 20th.
Joe?
And he did it to himself.
Oh,
Shot himself in the head. Here's Lloyd and Glen Burnie. Hey, Lloyd, what's up?
Okay, we're going to try to get you on. What would you like to talk about?
I just wanted to talk about something that somebody pointed out earlier about heat killing this virus.
Yes.
Okay, now, it occurred to me that what we ought to do...
You got 2 callers ahead of you. I'm going to try to get you on, okay?
Okay, hold on. Keep our interior spaces, houses and such, really warmer than usual.
Mm-hmm. That's been talked about.
And this would mean going easy on air conditioning this summer.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well,
that would hurt people with breathing problems.
Virus, then we ought to go easy on air conditioning.
Well, I think we need to confirm that, first of all. We're learning so much about this virus, and there's so much we don't know. Just came out, I think it was a legitimate scientific finding, that the virus does not really last long on surfaces. We're very concerned about that. Of course, we did all the cleaning and all of the clearing out, trying to get rid of the virus, whether it was in a church or in a bar or in a restaurant or in our own homes. And the fact of the matter is we're finding out that it doesn't have much of a lifespan on surfaces. So that's something we're learning. We're learning a lot of stuff. I'm going to talk about on Monday, I'm going to talk about the scientific findings in Australia and in India about this virus, which are very scary as to the possibility that this virus was manipulated because it has certain qualities about it that no other coronavirus has, which seems very unusual, and we're going to talk in more detail about that. But Lloyd, I can't shut off the air conditioner. I'm sorry.
Well, I understand shut it off, but go easy on it.
Well, Valerie's in charge of air conditioning.
But Lloyd, one of the problems is there are people that do have breathing problems that need that air conditioner. So what I'm saying, what I said earlier was that they're talking about the heat from the outside, the sun with high temperatures. It's high temperatures that kill the virus. Look at Florida. Look at the different states like
Texas,
that.
California.
Texas, California. What do they have that we don't have a month ago?
Well, two of the states have good governors.
Yeah, well, true.
Hey, thank you, Lloyd. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to talk to Joan in Parkville. Real quick, Joan, you're the last person. You got just about a minute here. Joan, good evening.
Hi, thank you, everybody. I want to talk about years ago what we bailed out the banks in New York.
Hey, TW.
And then they turned around after we bailed them out. They all
Hey, why don't you hold on? Hey, TW, why don't you hold on? And I'll just hold you until the next show. And you'll be the first caller. How about that?
And then when
See
they
what I do for you, man?
farmers,
All right, hold on, please.
vegetable farmers, milk farmers, cow farmers, when are they going to help those people? Their whole life goes down in one.
Okay.
So do you think when they're going to help them?
Well, I don't know. They're trying to help a lot of people. They're working on this third $3 trillion relief package, and who that goes to and whatever happens there, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I will give the president a lot of credit for a couple of things that people don't give him credit for. Number one, he determined right at the beginning that this was a war, just like when Franklin Roosevelt was president in the Second World War and the Ford Motor Company stopped making cars and started making tanks. Trump unified the federal government, all the different agencies, and put them to work on this issue. He then unified the public sector, the private sector together, working with both of them, providing leadership there. In addition to that, he worked with the governors and the local state people like the county executives and mayors. He brought all that leadership. Even the governor of California, who's a very liberal, said that Trump did a good job with the governors. Even Cuomo said that. So a lot of people don't want to give the president, the Trump haters want to take cheap shots all the time, but they don't want to give the president credit for his leadership and how he brought all these organizations and institutions and different groups together. But Joan, thank you so much for calling, and you have yourself a pleasant Memorial weekend. But anyway, we are out of time, and we had a great show tonight. Thanks to Councilman Todd Crandle and Pastor STACEY SHIFFLET and Valerie McDonough, thank you, and Kevin Leary also, and Ron. What is your name, sir?
I'll be Ron Savage.
This will be Ron Savage.
Yeah.
Anyway, always remember, truth and knowledge guarantee liberty. Keep the faith and keep
connected with stimulating talk and breaking news on Talk Radio 680 WCBM, Baltimore, and WCBM.com.
Adios. Have a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
President Trump wants states to reopen